Mr. Roman, Putin held a conference call to order the creation of a terror defense in the Kursk region, with funding from the federal budget. What does this mean? Will the forces not be moved from the Ukrainian front? Or do they not exist? Or what is their purpose? They've repeatedly allocated billions for terror defense and security, but the money was wasted. Eaten up, pocketed by Russian governors. But this is just another mechanism to write off money and nothing more. They will not create anything. The point is that terror defense is not a problem in itself. You cannot create it when the problem has already started. Terror defense should be created 5 years before a problem arises on the border or in some area. If you haven't built a terrorist defense or trained personnel for 5 years, it's just cannon fodder for the first battle against a professional army. Terror defense is useless. Move troops from the Eastern Front. Russians are transferring troops, with reserves being withdrawn from 30 to 40 kilometers from the front line, which were supposed to replace the Russian troops that are carrying out a combat mission on the line of contact. They are being transferred to the Kursk region. So this process is underway. Troops aren't being withdrawn from key pressure points like Toretsk, Chasovy Yar, or Pokrovsk. Instead, rear units are being withdrawn. Troops are being redeployed in companies and battalions to the Kursk region. They are aware that this bridgehead is strategically significant, with coverage provided by the Same, Desna, and Seversky Donets rivers, allowing for serious operations up to 50 to 70 kilometers deep into enemy territory. Прикрывшись Северским Донцом по Белгородской области, мы можем выполнять такие серьезные задачи в тылу противника, причем на глубину до 50-70 километров. A river like the coast of, say, the Sea of Azov or the Black Sea, and a river as well, it gives the opportunity to the И река также, она дает возможность при продвижении прикрываться. When advancing, cover one flank with a water surface to reduce the needed forces and resources. This is currently happening in Kursk Oblast, where the Sime River is used for protection, allowing easier movement. Mr. Romani, by the way, in the Pentagon, he said that they do not know Ukraine's strategic goals at the Kursk line, but they will talk to Ukraine about them. Do you really think that the U.S., the Billy Dim, do not know what is the meta of the Kurdish operation, and to what extent they did not know about the start of this operation at all? They don't know about strategic objectives because there aren't any. The strategic task is, let's say, taking control of Kursk and moving towards Moscow. This is a strategic task. There, operational and tactical tasks are carried out in the Kursk area to strengthen our border. That's why there's nothing strategic there. That's why they don't know anything. You can't know something that doesn't exist. And the fact that they did not share their plans with anyone else, I will say more, there were no plans at all. The thing is, it looks like this operation was spontaneous. Why spontaneous? Those troops that were withdrawn for the defense of Sumy, and they were mainly withdrawn along the border with Belarus, were replaced by police, national police, and probably the National Guard, the national police. These several brigades were located and deployed as defense brigades, that is, to cover Sumy as Kharkiv was covered. But simply at one of the moments when the Russians began to turn around too carelessly, firstly, with a lack of reserves, began to turn around in combat formation for an offensive towards Sumy, they were simply caught on the wrong side of the road. And then the situation began to unfold in our favor. Why? because there is nothing in the country of unafraid idiots. There's still nothing there. At the moment, there are no fortifications there. Neither the first nor the second line of defense, no supply lines, no minefields, nothing at all. They're just digging around the Kursk nuclear plant and moving dragon's teeth, which were bought a year and a half ago. They're taking photos of these movements, but it's all pointless. Now, the units withdrawn from the Eastern Front, from the reserves, and from the rear will start to arrive.
Тягают. А толку там никакого абсолютно нет. Вот сейчас начнут подходить части, снятые с Восточного фронта, с резервов и с тылов. Вот они как-то начнут уже...
They will somehow start to encamp along maybe the Seine, along some roads, because there is no one there now to carry out these tasks. The conscripts will not be entrenched. They don't know what it is. Let's say the airfield guards, who have been removed from several airfields now, will not be blown up. They don't know what it is either. That is, while they pull up units from the Eastern Front, we still have time to expand our bridgehead. And whether the Americans knew or did not know, it is not so important. We have already fulfilled this combat task, covering our border, and it will continue to be fulfilled. Mr. Romane, Kamala Harris has been officially nominated for the post of president as a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America. The Democrats' meeting was over, and accordingly, she promoted her words, where she voted for support of NATO and support of Ukraine. Tell me, please, how much more initiative can she have if she wins? Now, the Democrats have a little more initiative, let's say. How much different is she from Biden's leadership over Ukraine? Her statement is clearly pro-Ukrainian, anti-Russian, and pro-NATO. Her rhetoric is accurate, but future outcomes depend on support from contenders and the Biden administration. Obama or Kamala Harris might intervene if she becomes president. This is very important because if Obama stays there, the Obama administration stays there, Kamala Harris will be in use, talking head mode.
В дела той же Камала Харрис, если американский народ выберет ее президентом. Это очень важно. Почему? Потому что если там Обама останется обамовская администрация, то Камала Харрис будет в режиме использоваться говорящей головы.
And nothing more, which means no one will use her any other way. To what extent will she like it? Well, believe me, she and I are the same year, 64, and the vice president, he's also 64. And another vice presidential contender, the Arizona senator, is also 64. Believe me, 60-year-old people, well, to put it mildly, they don't like to be led by anyone. By anyone.
Мягко скажу так, не любят, когда ими кто-то руководит.
Life, at least 2/3 of life, has been lived, and so to speak, guidance from the outside, and even more so from senior comrades, well, it will definitely should be set aside. That is, Kamala Harris can still show her zeal in this sense, that is, her internal potential, and she can, in principle, send the same Obama and his administration on the course of the Russian ship. If she does it, she can do it. Then we'll get, again, if the American people elect her, we'll get a pretty serious pro-Ukrainian president of the United States of America, who will be discharging not 125 million like Biden is now, with Obama behind him. A new package. Out of 60 billion, 125 million has been discharged to us again. That's for a day and a half. That means for a day and a half we could have serious hostilities. And then we go back to smoking, waiting for the next 125 million tranche. Mr. Roman, I wanted to ask about the $125 million aid package. The previous packages were similarly sized, and this amount seems insufficient for a 1,300, 1,400-kilometer front. Why not transfer more if the amount is approved?
Ми ж прекрасно знаємо, що 125 мільйонів на такий фронт в 1300, понад 1300 кілометрів, ну це мізер. Я так розумію, що
I understand the U.S. doesn't want major changes on the front, but why is the aid package so small? When the story was told for 6 months that it was Biden who pushed through that $60 billion, fought Trump, fought the Republicans to pass, and so on and so forth, he was just playing this great champion of Ukraine. And in fact, after the $60 billion was allocated, after that we saw these $125 million allocated in an attempt to delay the issuance and delay at least until after the elections. It's a minimum, or even threaten it, as the same Biden threatened with Obama in his time. And they ruined land lies in 2022, if anyone remembers. That is, Biden has started to play in this mode, in a puff now. And as long as he manages the process, as long as Obama's ears are sticking out from behind him, we will get nothing out of this $60 billion. Because Biden can't or someone else, Sullivan Burns, that is, the whole Obama clique, have a direct interest in preventing us from kicking the Russians to the curb. First of all, I should like to greet Kharkiv, since today, apart from the Day of the State Trooper, we are also celebrating Kharkiv Day. The 3rd Azov Assault Brigade has officially announced the start of offensive operations in the Vovchansky region. However, the details have not been specified. There is already information about an infiltration on this line and the capture of 2 kilometer squares of important enemy positions. Troika is one of our leadership brigades, that is elite, I would say so. They launched the mechanism in time, they launched the mechanism of direct recruitment. They have a waiting list for this brigade. There are smart commanders there, a smart brigade commander. I personally have known him since 2014, since Mariupol. That is, this brigade is one of the main such driving forces of our offensive actions. Yes, the defensive is such a task, that is, the assault brigade, which performs its tasks to the maximum. I think that in the near future we will see in the Kharkiv region, it may be not only Volchansk, now we see movement in the area of Kupiansk. That is, we have positive dynamics in that direction as well. Is also Kharkiv region, i.e. Volchansk, Lipsy, and Kupiansk are Kharkiv region. I think there will be positive dynamics there, and there we will hear it in the near future.